Some fixtures have multiple light outputs that can be controlled individually, and in the case of these fixtures we would refer to that as a fixture with sub-fixtures. It's a fixture that has multiple different light outputs that can be controlled separately and essentially treated like fixtures in their own right. A very common example of that are things like LED battens. So I'm going to go and open my visualizer, and I've got fixtures 81 through 88. If I go and say 81 through 88 at, those are my LED battens that I've got there. And we can see that I've got 8 10-cell RGBW battens running across the back of my stage. If I just go and say 81 at, it will just come on as a single fixture. That is a single batten, therefore it turns on as a normal fixture. But you'll notice in my classic view that I've got a little dot. Bottom right of my fixture tile there, in the classic view, I have a little dot, and that is indicating to me that this fixture has sub-fixtures. We're able to drill down a little bit deeper to get a bit more control. So if I want to go in and drill down a little bit deeper, I could either go and click on that dot, or I could just go and type in 81 point enter. That doesn't select the fixture, that just breaks it down. It expands the fixture to then reveal the sub-fixtures. And I can then see there are the 10 cells of fixture 1. Equally, I could go and say an 81 dot enter again to collapse that if I wanted to. So what I can do is I could go and turn that fixture on. I could go and say 81 at like I've done there. But what I could start to do is I could then turn some of those cells off. So I could go and say 81.1 through 81.8 at 0 enter. And that's going to turn off 1 through 8, but leave fixtures 0.9 and 0.10 on. You can see now I've only got 2 pixels on because I've turned the rest off. Equally, I could go now and say 81.1 and 81.2 at and turn those back on. So you can start to grab control of individual pixels of your fixtures if you are operating them in a multi-cell mode. Now if I go and just say 81 at, grab that fixture as a whole, not the individual cells, in my fixture control sidebar you can see that I've got a master control tab and that is empty. The reason being this particular fixture does not have master parameters, i.e. in the case of this fixture, there's not a master intensity or a master strobe, for example. Instead, all of the controls live within each sub-fixture. In the case of this fixture, it's actually very simple because each sub-fixture just simply has RGBW. So what I can do is I can go and say all sub-fixture control, and that allows me now to control the colour of all of the sub-fixtures together as at once if I want to. So that's how you can just go and control it, a little bit like if it was a normal fixture with a single light output. On your encoder wheels, you may notice you've got an asterisk next to the parameter name. Red, green, blue, white with an asterisk after them. That is telling me the encoders are controlling all sub-fixtures together. But if I go and tap my colour button to start cycling through, you'll then see that you get a number displayed after the parameter name, and that will be indicating the cell number that you currently have control of. Now, as well as paging through the pixels, we can of course select just the pixels we need. So I could go and say 81.8 through 81.10, enter, and I can then just grab the colour, can change the colour of just those pixels if I want to. And you can see there I've now got control of those in my visualizer. In my classic view, I've got a little preview of what's happening because on fixture 81, it's showing me what the sub-fixtures are doing. That means I could go and say 81.enter to collapse that, but I can still get a preview of the colour of the cells of that particular fixture. Something else I can do is I could go and say, I've double tap release there, I might want to go and say 81 point through enter. If you do that, that's going to grab all cells of a fixture for you if you need to, and it's not selecting the master fixture. So what that means I could do is I could go and say 81 at to turn that fixture on, and I could again go and say 81 point through enter to grab the cells, and I could then go to my selection tool, go to tools, and then go and choose odd. That means I could then go and put my odd cells in a colour, and I might then want to go in and say 81 point through enter, select tools even, and then choose those in a colour. And so that's a very quick way of starting to narrow down and use our selection tools to grab control of the cells that we need. Now, as well as using our just manual colour control, we can also fan colours across cells. So this time I'm going to go and say 81 enter, and I'm going to go and home that fixture. And I'm then going to go and say 81 point through enter, and I'm going to go to my fan tool. And in my fan tool, I can then go and adjust the spread, and I can start to fan colours across my LED batten if I want. So I've got the spread there, which chooses how wide a range of the spectrum I'm spread across. I can actually choose the start centre point on the hue spectrum there that I want to fan across. And then I've also got my saturation and intensity options that I can control as well within the fan tool. And once I've created a colour I'm happy with, I can go ahead and click OK on my fan tool there. Let's talk about some ranges that we can use. So what I might want to do is I'm going to double tap clear, and this time I'm going to go and say 81.1 through enter. That syntax, 81.1 through enter, that's selecting cell 81.1 through to the last cell of that fixture type. So I've grabbed all cells. I'm going to go and turn those on, so I'm going to go and say at to go and turn all of those cells on together. And I'm now going to use the syntax at colour 3.181 through 3.768, enter. What has that done? Well, we're saying that we want these fixtures, and remember we selected them, cell 81.1 through to the last cell of that type of fixture. So we're saying at colour 3.181, so that's saying Lee filter library, gel 181 through to Lee filter library 768, and it has spread the colours from my Congo blue right the way through all of my cells to get to gel 768, get to filter 768. So you can very quickly get colour fans across a wide range of fixtures, and they might even be, as in the case of this example, you might actually be fanning across the cells of multiple fixtures as well. The console will just do the work to fill in the gaps for you. I might want to go and say home on those, and this time what I'm going to go and say is 81.1 through enter. Again, same syntax we've already done, 81 through to the last cell of that type, but this time I'm going to go and say ++3 enter. And that's done an offset. So I'm saying I want cell 1 and then an offset of 3. So cell 1 and then 1, 2, 3, next cell is cell 4. Then 1, 2, 3, next cell is cell 7, and so on. And so now I could go and put those cells in a colour. Great, happy with that. So I'm now going to do in this example 81.2 through enter, ++3 enter again. And so now I'm offsetting from cell 2, put those in a different colour. And so you can see here 81.3 through enter, ++3 enter. You can see there how you can start to really quickly fan those colours across multiple fixtures at once. And so you can start to get very specific about what your fixtures want to do through your syntax commands and using offset. And equally, again, offset is quite happy working across multiple cells if you need to.